Tēnā koutou katoa. Welcome to the Primary Industry Training Organisation's Biosecurity videos that show you how you can check and apply sound biosecurity practices in your workplace. Biosecurity New Zealand has a significant task of developing a system to protect and respond to biosecurity risks, threats and breaches. They want all New Zealanders to play their part so that our biosecurity system will be resilient. Our lifestyles, our livelihoods, our economy and our unique biodiverse environment depend on it. Primary ITO has partnered with many of our sectors in this project, and I thank them all for their input. The videos will provide you with helpful information. By taking these ideas on board, we can strengthen our ability to protect our industry now and in the future. Ko tātou, this is us.
New Zealand's primary industries produce the livestock, meat, milk, crops and nursery plants that we use and sell every day. However, these products are all vulnerable to attack from harmful pests and diseases. In your workplace, you will already be taking action to protect your crops and livestock. Many of these actions will be part of health and safety, food safety, good agricultural practice, or to meet export requirements. Use this video along with information from your industry to be more aware of how you already implement biosecurity and what else you could do to strengthen your current practice. There are many aspects of your production practices that can help support your biosecurity. Your greatest defence is the early detection and control of pests and diseases. Ensure your staff know how to recognise the first signs or symptoms. Involve them in daily monitoring of your livestock or crops and perform regular crop scouting. Know your normal so people can tell what is not normal. Encourage them to immediately report any concerns. Provide information and training through posters, industry publications or field officer visits. Increase your monitoring during higher risk periods. Source all incoming materials or stock from a trusted or accredited supplier. When receiving new livestock, plants, feed, bedding, propagation stock, compost or growing media, keep them isolated until you are confident they pose no risk.
Any livestock that come onto the property, we monitor them to ensure that they carry no issues, no risks and pose no threat to our biosecurity. We also ensure that all the NATE obligations are fulfilled, both for delivery and arrival of stock, so that we have accurate records and they are recorded to meet the requirements of the national standards.
For vineyard replants, we purchase our grapevines from a nursery that is certified to be growing them under the grafted grapevine standard, so that ensures a high level of quality in the first place. We bring them into our nursery for two reasons. One is to get the vines to establish a better root system and put on a nice straight shoot for us, which makes it easier for us to establish those vines in a vineyard, because really we're just putting in replacements, and that gives them a stronger root system to give them a better start in the vineyard. The second reason is it gives us a chance to keep an eye on the vines before we actually plant them out in the vineyard, so the staff, when they're working on them, they can be observing if there's any disease problems or any pest problems coming in there. Most of the time there aren't any, but it's a good opportunity to be able to do that. These vines are probably looking a little bit rugged at this time of year, because it's the time of year when they're not far off losing their leaves, but they do look normally very healthy, very strong.
All incoming inputs should be inspected for any signs of pests or disease. Check accompanying documentation to make sure everything is in order.
Biosecurity is becoming an increasingly important part of the nursery sector. The best thing that we can do is engage with our suppliers and our customers and our staff about what we can do to keep our nursery safe from biosecurity threat. A really important part of that is making sure that our suppliers are using documented trails to make sure that the product they supply us is good and clean. And if we start on a good footing, the rest of the process is a lot easier.
Dispose of waste in ways that limits any potential spread of infection. Remove fallen leaves, fruit and prunings, as these can attract and harbour pests and diseases. Healthy plant material can be composted. Unhealthy plant material needs to be buried, burnt or disposed of at a specialised facility. Always keep healthy and unhealthy waste material apart to minimise the risk of contamination. Effluent and biological waste can also be a source of disease. Store and apply effluent in ways that meet regional requirements. Dispose of other livestock waste or animal carcasses as soon as possible, or place in a dedicated collection area away from stock, feed or waterways. Cover any carcasses awaiting collection to deter birds, dogs or vermin. It is also important to keep livestock water, feed and bedding clean. Dirty water or feeding troughs will encourage the growth of disease-causing bacteria. Good practice is to have a cleaning roster to keep water fresh and palatable. Where possible, also keep them off the ground so they are less likely to become contaminated by faeces. Damp, wet, old or mouldy feed or bedding can create a bacterial breeding ground or produce toxic spores that result in health issues for your livestock.
It's not just ourselves and animals that can spread disease, actually equipment that's used between farms or feeding equipment that's used between calf sheds or calf mobs or even calf pen to calf pen can spread infection. So ensuring that those things are kept clean, so washing them first with soap and water and then disinfecting them afterwards is very important. Diseases are excellent at surviving in wet, moist, dirty environments, so you can expect them to be being transferred between groups of animals if you're not careful.
Keep food and bedding stores clean and dry and regularly inspect for signs of insects, pests, mould or damage. Dispose of any feed or bedding that is not in good condition. All water sources must be well managed to prevent bacterial growth or contamination. Keep animals, pesticides, fertilisers, compost and rubbish well away from water sources. Where possible, cover wellheads and pumps. If you have a farm dam, prevent algal blooms by aeration or water treatment. Test your water quality, especially if it is being applied to crops used to produce milk or is intended for human consumption. Cleaning and sanitising plant production areas also reduces the opportunities for pests and diseases to spread and become established.
The best thing we can do for biosecurity is having a very clean nursery, so basic hygiene is a really important part of what we try and do here. And it's simple things like removing plant debris and putting it to an appropriate area, and basic hygiene like cleaning our surfaces and making sure that we've got buckets and brooms so that we can keep all the areas clean and clear of any debris.
How you use pesticides, herbicides and agricultural medications is a key part of maintaining biosecurity. Using the wrong product or amount or application technique increases the risk of pests and diseases becoming resistant to these chemicals. Always make sure you or others are trained to apply the agrichemical or medication, follow the instructions on the label, and use the correct protective clothing and equipment. An animal vaccination program can help reduce the risk or severity of infection. For harvested crops, remove any loose soil or plant material that could attract or harbour pests and diseases. Ensure all equipment is cleaned after harvest so it can be safely stored. Animals that are allowed to mix with others from outside your property can spread pests and diseases. Ensure your fencing is secure to prevent livestock straying, and consider the use of double fencing or planting hedgerows on boundaries to minimise nose-to-nose contact by stock. New Zealand has 4.7 million people, each of whom has a part to play in maintaining biosecurity. We all need to work together to keep our natural resources and primary industry safe. Be on the lookout for signs of a biosecurity risk, and if you spot anything unusual, call the Ministry for Primary Industries Pest and Disease hotline on 0800 80 99 66.